In the small American town of Ashwood, there lived a young man named Daniel Walker. Everyone knew him. Teachers knew him because he was always in trouble. Students knew him because he was fearless. The principal knew him because he spent more time in detention than in class. Daniel wasn't a bad person. He simply had a temper. If he saw someone being bullied, he fought. If someone insulted his friends, he fought. If someone cheated or lied, he fought. At 18 years old, Daniel believed strength solved everything. His father had died when he was young. His mother worked long hours to support the family. As a result, Daniel grew up learning to survive on his own. College was supposed to change his future. Instead, during his first year at Ashwood Community College, he became known as the campus troublemaker. Yet beneath the tough exterior was a lonely young man searching for purpose. Then one autumn morning, everything changed. A new student arrived. Her name was Emily Carter. She stepped into the classroom carrying books against her chest, long brown hair, bright blue eyes, a gentle smile. The entire room noticed her. Daniel noticed her more than anyone. For the first time in his life, he couldn't think of a single thing to say. His friends laughed. Looks like Daniel Walker finally met someone who can shut him up. For the first time ever. They were right. Emily was different from everyone Daniel had ever met. She wasn't impressed by his reputation. She wasn't afraid of him. She treated him like a normal person. At first, they became friends. They studied together, walked home together, shared lunch together. Emily encouraged Daniel to focus on his education. Slowly, something incredible happened. His grades improved. His fights became less frequent. His future began to matter. Months passed. The friendship became love. One snowy evening, Daniel finally confessed. Standing beneath a streetlight, nervous and shaking, he told Emily how he felt. For several seconds, she said nothing. Then she smiled. "I've been waiting for you to say that." Daniel had never felt happier. The next 2 years became the best years of their lives. They dreamed about marriage, about a home, about children, about growing old together. Neither of them knew tragedy was already approaching. Near Ashwood stood several abandoned warehouses. Most people ignored them. Daniel didn't. One evening, while helping a friend repair a truck, he noticed suspicious activity near the buildings. Large shipments arrived after midnight. Vehicles came and went without records. Armed guards watched the entrances. Something felt wrong. Curiosity led Daniel closer. What he discovered shocked him. The warehouses were being used for a massive smuggling operation controlled by wealthy businessman Victor Hayes. Illegal goods worth millions of dollars moved through those buildings every month. Victor Hayes appeared respectable in public. Privately, he was ruthless. Daniel collected evidence, photos, license plate numbers, documents. He anonymously delivered everything to federal authorities. The investigation moved quickly. Within weeks, police raided multiple warehouses. News channels covered the story nationwide. Millions of dollars were seized. Victor Hayes lost everything. His empire collapsed overnight. But Victor wasn't arrested, and he wanted revenge. Only a few people knew who exposed him. Daniel Walker was one of them. Rain fell heavily across Ashwood. Daniel was riding home on his motorcycle after a late evening class. The roads were nearly empty. Suddenly, headlights appeared behind him, a black SUV, then another, then another. Something felt wrong. The vehicles accelerated. Daniel tried to escape. Too late. One SUV slammed into his motorcycle. Daniel crashed violently. He rolled across the pavement. Pain exploded through his body. Before he could stand, several men surrounded him. They wore masks. No words were spoken. The attack began. Punches, kicks, metal pipes. Daniel fought back, but there were too many. Eventually, one man struck his head with a steel rod. Everything went black. The attackers disappeared into the night, leaving Daniel dying beside the road. Doctors saved his life. but they couldn't save the damage. The severe brain injury changed everything. Daniel forgot names, forgot places, forgot entire years of his life. Sometimes he screamed for hours. Sometimes he laughed uncontrollably. Sometimes he stared at walls for days. Specialists tried every treatment available. Nothing worked. Eventually, doctors recommended long-term psychiatric care. Daniel was transferred to a state mental institution, a place forgotten by most of society. The young man Emily loved disappeared behind locked doors, and the world moved on. Emily refused to move on. Every day she asked about Daniel. Every day she prayed. Every day she waited. But years passed. Nothing changed. Her parents grew worried. They wanted their daughter to have a future, a family, a normal life. Emily refused every proposal, every relationship, every opportunity. Only one man existed in her heart: Daniel. Eventually, pressure became unbearable. Her parents arranged a marriage. Emily cried, begged, argued. Nothing worked. The wedding proceeded. Friends celebrated. Family members smiled. Photographs were taken, yet behind every smile was heartbreak. Emily didn't love the man she married. She loved Daniel, and part of her always would. Years passed. Emily's marriage became a prison. Her husband wasn't cruel, but he wasn't Daniel. Every anniversary reminded her of what she'd lost. Every holiday hurt. Every birthday felt incomplete. Late at night, she often opened an old box hidden inside her closet. Inside were photographs, letters, memories, and a picture of Daniel. She would stare at it for hours, wondering whether he remembered her, wondering whether he was still alive, wondering whether fate had abandoned them both. Slowly, depression consumed her. No one understood. No one noticed. No one realized she was dying emotionally. Long before she died physically, inside the psychiatric hospital, something unexpected happened. A new treatment program began. Years of therapy slowly produced results. Daniel started remembering pieces of his life. Faces, places, voices. Then one evening, everything returned. Emily, the college campus, their promises, their dreams. He remembered it all. For the first time in over a decade, Daniel became himself again. One thought dominated his mind: find Emily, no matter what. That night he escaped. For hours he walked through darkness. Rain soaked his clothes, his feet bled. But he didn't stop. He was finally going home. He was finally going back to the woman he loved. Near sunrise, Daniel reached Emily's neighborhood. His heart raced. He imagined her smile, her tears, her reaction. Then he noticed something strange. Cars lined the street. People dressed in black entered and exited the house. Many were crying. Fear gripped his chest. He approached an elderly neighbor. "What happened?" he asked. The woman looked at him. Then her eyes widened. She recognized him immediately. Her face turned pale. "Oh my God!" Daniel's voice trembled. "What happened?" Tears filled the woman's eyes. "Emily died yesterday." The words shattered him. Daniel froze. His mind refused to understand. "No," the woman nodded. "She took poison." She'd been depressed for years. Some people say she never stopped waiting for the man she loved. Daniel felt the world collapse around him. He had survived the attack, survived years of madness, survived isolation, only to arrive one day too late. Just one day. One day. The love of his life was gone forever. Hidden among the crowd, Daniel watched Emily's funeral. Nobody recognized him. Nobody knew who he was. As her coffin was lowered into the ground, Daniel felt part of himself die with her. He wanted to scream, to cry, to tell everyone the truth. Instead, he stood silently. Tears rolled down his face. The rain began falling again, just as it had on the night his life was destroyed. When everyone left, Daniel remained for hours, alone beside her grave. Finally, he whispered, "I'm sorry." 3 simple words, the words he carried for the rest of his life. The next morning, employees at the psychiatric hospital were shocked. Daniel Walker stood at the entrance. Voluntarily, no police, no guards, no resistance. He simply returned. Doctors asked why. He never answered, because the truth was simple. The world outside no longer held anything for him. Emily was gone. His future was gone. His dreams were gone. The only thing remaining was grief. Years became decades. Patients arrived and left. Doctors retired. Buildings changed. The world changed. But one thing never changed. An old man sitting beside a window, holding a faded photograph, watching sunsets, waiting, always waiting. Young nurses often asked about the woman in the picture. Daniel always smiled sadly. Then he would answer, "She was my home." One winter morning, staff entered his room. Daniel Walker had passed away peacefully in his sleep. He was 82 years old. In his hand remained the same photograph he had carried for decades, a photograph of Emily Carter. The hospital later discovered a note beneath his pillow. Only one sentence was written on it. "I couldn't find my way back to her in time." Daniel was buried beside Emily at sunset, in the same cemetery, under the same sky. And for the first time in nearly 60 years, they were finally together again.